you'll find out.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. This is Stuart Lynn. I'm the EVR race director, but today we're racing the GCN Innsbrukiring Handicap race. 3 laps. I'm racing in the Bs. We're starting 10 minutes behind the Ds, 4 minutes behind the Cs, and 2 minutes ahead of the A group. So you can also see the overall race live streaming on GCN right now, and should be interesting. I think over 600 people will be riding in this in various things. Possibly 150, well, right now 150, 160 in the B group. So, will be very interesting. No idea if we're going to be able to catch the C's and the D's, and whether we'll be able to stay away from the A's. 3 laps, A's, that means we have to stay away from them better than 40 seconds per lap. If they do their laps 40 seconds faster than us, they will catch us. And the last lap, when they're trying to get us at the line, they'll take up even better. So we have to have at least 30 seconds as we come down the home stretch, or we'll get caught. So I'd say should be very fun. See if we can get some GCN commentary going here.
3 times in total today here in the GCN Handicap race. This is where the group will get split up, and you're going to have one designated ride leader, somebody taking the toll at the front saying, okay guys, we're going to be doing this set watts per kilo to all stay together and try to work together throughout the race.
Well, what was interesting there was that was the D group, so of course the first group to set off today, and they were all hovering a bit over 2 watts per kilogram. Now they're supposed to be between 1 to 2 watts per kilogram at FTP. So, well, they're probably excited, aren't they? It's hard to hold back, isn't it, when you're really up for an event like
it will even out, because once they've done that for about 10 minutes, and FTP is what you can do technically for an hour, calculated by a 20-minute effort. Once they've done that for 10 minutes, everyone will start to feel it, and they'll start going down, especially as you see on screen now, that yellow kit. This is the leg snapper, top right-hand corner. You can see the gradient they're feeling right now, roughly 8% out on course, and Ben Towell of WKG is in there. We're watching Ben Fleenor of the United States. You can see then the groups are already starting to stretch out and get to ones and ones.
Yeah, lots of British riders in there. It is splitting up, and that is not, in fact, going to help their cause. Under normal circumstances, in a normal race that's not handicapped, the riders at the front there would be thinking, well, I'm doing pretty well here because I'm in a group off the front. 18, 16, but 17. It is better, especially for at least the first half of the race, to keep as many people there as possible. But you can see the power to weight ratios there, upwards towards 4. On the climb, that's no bad thing because it's short enough that you can kind of go into the red and recover enough on the flat afterwards. But it'll be interesting to see what sort of power to weight the A group does up there.
And it's also worth mentioning, because we're on GCN, some people out there may not have ever seen or heard of Swift before. This is in fact a real life effort. What you're seeing with James and Oscar, everyone else is doing the same thing right now out on the Innsbruck course. As you see, the next group is about to get underway. They're pedaling their bike on a turbo trainer, and they're actually, what their effort is doing in real life, their avatar in the game will replica that.
If you're wondering whether they're constantly showing off like that, James and Oscar, it's because we've given them a screen so that they can see when they're on camera. So as soon as it goes back onto them, they're giving it the big guns to the camera here. James is on his way, and you can already see the effort is starting to tell. Very concentrated, in fact. I think Oscar's still got a couple of minutes before he sets off, but it won't be long now.
There's a certain art to Swift racing. You can't, like that feeling when you jump on for the first time and you have no idea what's about to happen. I understand why James is getting nervous now, because he's racing with 500 people. Online, there's thousands of people watching him right now. You won't really notice this feeling when you're racing outside then, as you've done. This is a whole different world now.
It's going to be an interesting race. So that is the C group that has just gone across the start line, and we are seeing the power up there of O Osteras, 444 watts and 153 beats per minute already. These races are notorious for starting particularly fast. You can't get caught out in the first minute, can you?
You have to know about this. You have to know that in the beginning everyone will sprint out of the gate just like a... cyclocross race, just like a crit race, which I'm sure James has done many of before. Another thing worth mentioning is that little pop-up you see above the riders. That's a power-up, Dan. Have you ever played Mario Kart? Have you ever thrown a banana peel or thrown a turtle?
Well, I'm just about old enough to have played Mario Kart, yeah, probably the original.
This is the equivalent. You can drop an aero power-up, which will make you faster. You can use a featherweight power-up, which will make you lighter, make you climb faster, or a drafting power-up, which will make that draft feel a bit more realistic out on course.
So just explain how you get a power-up in the first place, and it's random which one you receive, isn't it?
100% random. Every time you come underneath a start-finish banner, if you don't have a power-up, the game will random nicely and give you one. You could get unlucky and get experience power-up, which means you will not have a gain going into the next sprint or the next effort out on course.
Okay, and what is the general strategy with these power-ups? I mean, presumably, you want to try and keep them under your sleeve, basically, until you get to the final couple of kilometers.
Well, we see the A group going underway now with the GCN kit. A few riders popping their arrows, their drafting power-ups. It really comes down to you as the person. Do you want to help the collective? Do you want to help the group and use your power-up to try and truck along? Or are you playing the long game and trying to wait for the sprint where you know that arrow power-up is going to make or break your sprint?
Concentrated face there of Oscar Pujol, who is on his way now. He is in this group full of GCN kits. That is Group A. There they go across the rainbow bands, marking the start of the lap. Just to remind you, if you've only just joined us, each lap is 8.8 kilometres, which totals 26.6. So actually, for the A group, that's only going to be a little over half an hour. In fact, I was looking at the current Strava record around this lap on Zwift, and it's a little over 10 minutes. That was at about 460 watts average though. So for the best riders here, we're looking at a race time of about 33 or 34 minutes. James, not embarrassed, he's just going red through effort there.
We're seeing also, we got a quick glimpse of the turbo trainer that James is on today. It's the Elite Drivo 2, which is a smart trainer. So as they hit the leg snapper, that turbo trainer will change resistance, meaning he'll have to go through the gears, find an easier gear, and still produce the watts. So as you see on the screen, that's actually what you feel in the legs as well out on course.
Important to point out though that you don't have to have a smart trainer to enjoy Zwift, can you? You can just get a standard static trainer indoors with a speed and possibly a cadence sensor too, but really you just need the speed sensor and either an iPad or a laptop or some sort of computer in front of you, and away you go basically.
That's the convenience of Zwift. You can jump on whenever with pretty much whatever equipment you have. It will be compatible considering you have ANT Plus or a Bluetooth connection. That's really what Zwift is about, getting on whenever you want at your command.
So there you can see the power on the top left of our Ford at the moment, pushing up towards 400 watts. Where's the watts per kilo? Down on the right hand side, 4.4 there. So he's pushing on pretty hard at the moment. 158 heart rate. I'd love to see what James Losley Williams' heart rate is right now, because I'm imagining it's well up into the 180s already. There you can see the gap between the different groups. So there's category C at 4 minutes and 44. In fact, have we got James now? Yeah, 106. Oh, not as high as I was expecting. He's sitting in. The thing with James is he's in GCN kit amongst a whole group of riders in blue and black kit, so it's going to be easy to see whether he's slacking and not doing it, or maybe he's dropped. He might be off the back.
Oh no, James is in there. Not just yet. He hasn't even done the leg snapper once. Also looking at the time gaps in the bottom left hand corner, that will update rolling as the riders go through checkpoints out on course. You can see right now the A category is about 8 minutes down on the D category out on the road.
Wow, so they've already made up a fair amount of time when you look at that, haven't they? Right, I have been trying to keep in touch with some of you in terms of the comments that you have been writing in, including Eugen Selenica, Dan sucks. That is just generally the consensus these days on most comments that I read, but please do get involved in the comments. If you have any questions for myself, for Jesper alongside me, we will do our very best to answer them over, the next half an hour or so. It's going to be over very quickly indeed. Oscar Pujol. I've got confidence in Oscar today, given how hard he's been training recently for that Taiwan KOM challenge. He's been up for it, he looked nervous, which is a good sign, let's face it, and well, let's see what he's got in the tank at the end. Hopefully he'll be saving his power-ups for the end as well.
Just looking at the peloton we have today, it's a stacked A group, it's a stacked B group, and it's in particular a stacked C group where we saw almost 300 people signed up. I'm not so sure how many people actually got into the start pin and is racing today, but seeing the overall number being so high, Oscar might be a favorite, but he's going to depend on everyone else to take a turn and actually bring the A group within a chance of winning.
Well, now I'd like to see Oscar's heart rate. He just had to do a sprint there just to keep up with the group. It does take a little bit of getting used to, doesn't it, how the drafting works on Zwift, because you do find sometimes you can get a little bit caught out where you feel like you're not about to lose contact, but then suddenly realise you're not pressing hard enough and have to make a spurt just to get back on.
racing on Zwift is so much about repetition, experience, and having done it before, because the draft effect, you won't feel it in the kicker, but within the game of Zwift, within the software, you will feel it, you will see it, and you have to trust that your avatar is within the back wheel of another avatar, because all the outdoor riding experience, all the outdoor riding feel is actually within the game of Zwift as well. As we now see, I believe this is James's B group that's about to hit the leg snapper, and his face is about to turn red now.
We've had some requests to permanently remain in the GCN Hurt Locker so that we can see the faces. I'm sure we'll be using these in future GCN videos. Yeah, not looking at his best at the moment, is he? He's not even halfway through yet.
On a scale from 1 to Tom last, what would you say that is?
Well, he's well on his way, I've got to say. So, well, if you take 1 to 10, I'd say he's close to an 8 already, isn't he? He's got a little way to go, but he's definitely in the GCN Hurt Locker, that's for sure.
You can see they're going up the leg snapper now. Now we're back with the A category. They're further back out on course as well. So they are, if we can see their watts per kilo, they'll be sitting around 5.5 to about 6 on the front, as the Kim Littles, the Adam Webbs, etc., the guys who have done these sort of handicap races every week. They know what they're doing. Now we can see James is sitting at 7.5 watts per kilo.
Oh, wow, 7.5. So we're in the B group now. That's with the blue, the black, and the white kit. And James Losley Williams at 7.7 watts per kilo. Hence why he's got the face on him that he has right now. It's going to be really interesting to see which groups come together the quickest, isn't it? When you look at the times on the screen there at the moment, though, between category A and category B, we've only got 40 seconds. So actually, those two groups are going to catch each other pretty quickly.
What's going to happen between Oscar and James once Oscar actually catches James out on course? Is he going to give him a little wink?
Well, I'm not sure if James is going to have much option when that group with Oscar catches up. I'm sure he'd give him a helping hand as much as he can. There's a bit of camaraderie there.
You can see Kim Little is texting within the game saying climb incoming. This is really what these handicap races are about. Having one voice giving you some sort of direction, some sort of instruction to either ease up or go faster. And I think you know Kim quite well.
Yeah, Kim is a rider that lives reasonably near to me. Does a lot of mountain biking, but has been quite a legend, become quite a legend, hasn't he, on Zwift. He's very successful on the Zwift racing, both the handicap racing that we're seeing tonight, but also the general racing that you can get on Zwift too. Absolutely loves it, and you can see he's very experienced because he's teaching the riders how they should be racing an event like tonight. We'll actually give a few other mentions as to who is out there tonight, and also talk about some prizes for all those competing a little bit. We have a rider called Leandro Messinio, signed up, haven't seen him in the race at the moment, we think he's in there. He won a stage of the Tour of San Luis back in 2011, so a pretty good rider there. Then there's another rider called Mathieu Drujon, who used to race for the same amateur team as me. He was a junior, I was a few years older. He went on to race for Kestepagna and also for FDJ and one other pro team, Big Map, that's the one. Great French rider. He does a lot of Zwifting and he's pretty handy, as you might expect.
Well, speaking of handy, did you know he's a part-time magician?
No.
Yeah, he goes around entertaining at bike events. Yeah, he's quite good.
If he's any good at illusion, he might cross the line first without actually crossing the line first, mightn't he? Paul Whiteley as well, who was at the E-Crits over in London recently. He had a big scar on his leg. He accidentally stabbed himself, he told me earlier.
So apparently I think he's a vet, and as he was doing some sort of surgery, he accidentally took the scalpel and...
Oh, see, I thought you meant he was over 40.
Oh.
I thought, what's that got to do with stabbing yourself? We have also got Knut Skarnet. Oh, you better pronounce that.
Knut Skarnes Moldestad.
Exactly what I was going to say. He was already sneakily out on the course earlier, doing a few warm-up laps and preparing for tonight. So, yeah, some big-name riders we've got in amongst the Group A today, including, of course, Oscar Pujol. Right, what's the situation out on the road? Well, between Category A and Category B now, the gap seems to have extended. And in fact, Category A haven't really made any inroads into the lead group on the road, Category B, for quite some time.
Not yet. It's also worth mentioning that these time gaps are taken at direct time. So the reason why that gap was so close was because James was climbing and Oscar was going on a flat section. So the speeds would have been different at that point.
So it's more of a distance gap.
Yes, pretty much. But we'll see once we get through. This is just the first of 3 laps out on course. The category to look at tonight is probably the C category, considering they have 300 riders. At least they have 300 riders signed up, and that peloton is almost like a medium-sized sportive out in the real world.
Be interesting though, actually. exactly how many riders we've got out there on the road at the moment, because we did have hundreds sign up. We believe most of them are there, so we will see at the end, I guess, when we get the results through. Talking about results, we have got 3 prizes to give away for our competitors today. It's done on first come, first serve in effect, and that is the first 3 across the line who will receive those prizes. It's a prize for first place today, and the results will be flashed up in the region a minute after the race finishes. GCN goodies and a GCN fan kit. Second place on the day gets a GCN fan kit to the bib shorts and the jersey, and then third place will receive a GCN Camelback water bottle and indeed a GCN cap. So not just points tonight, but also prizes coming from GCN. So let's see who's first, second and third. Before any of the riders in Group A and Group B have got any chance of getting any of those prizes, they've got to catch up.
That's the great thing about this event, is that literally anyone out there can win. It's set up in such a way that the time gaps are built in that, in theory, it should come together within 50 meters of the line on the 3rd lap. So if you're a D rider out there, you got to be pushing hard. A C rider's going to be pushing hard. A B rider's going to be pushing hard, and especially in the A category, you're going to be pushing just as hard out there on the course there.
So they are on the 2nd lap now. Total, of course, is 26 kilometres, 26.6 to be exact, if you take the 3 laps of 8.8 kilometres. This is now Group B that we are watching, and we're watching James Loasley-Williams down at 4 watts per kilo now, so a little bit of a chance to recover, but you're never completely freewheeling on this course.
There's no freewheeling, you're always keeping that chain tight. We can see Oscar Puyol sitting at 5 watts per kilo.
Does he use the power up?
Also, did you see that mustache? It looked quite good. It's quite fitting, that avatar.
Well, better on Zwift than him. Well, I won't say that. Well, he's not listening, is he?
Well, he might be. Definitely got to see his face right now as he's pushing out 5.5 watts per kilo. That pain face will be legendary.
There we go. Heart rate's going up. 175 now for James Loasley-Williams as he hovers around 280 watts, which for him is in the region of 3.6 watts per kilo.
Here we're in the GCN hurt locker once again. You can see the sweat coming down, dripping down as they are going hard at it out on course. Just about halfway for the D riders now. So you can see Oscar Puyol there on the right hand side. With the D riders having that many people out in the peloton tonight, and the same for the C's, having about 250 people on the line. It's going to be a tough catch tonight, then. It will be, particularly, as you said, given how big that group is at the front. It happens in handicap races out on open circuits, doesn't it? Sometimes, if they work really well together, the A group never catches them and they fight it out for the victory. And it's exactly the same here on Zwift. If they do work well together and don't drop each other on the climb when they go up at each lap, they've got a chance of staying away. That's what tonight is all about, all-inclusive. Pretty much any ability does have the chance on their night to win the race. Been digging into some more of the comments. Chris JBSC says, watch out for Bevis the Beast. Better Bevis? No. But tonight we'll be hearing of Bevis the Beast.
Somebody called Niels Heldens, big GCN commenter. Welcome on, Niels.
I believe he's won GCN commenter of the year, actually.
He might well have done, actually, yes. So Niels says those are special Tron bikes, but somebody also said, I think it was Niels, said that Mathieu Drujon is a bit of a legend.
He is.
Well, if he's a magician as well as an ex-pro cyclist, then of course he's a bit of a legend. Some people have got too much talent, haven't they?
Just like you, Dan. Maybe we should touch upon the Tron bikes you're seeing on the course.
Yeah.
You're seeing some bikes light up, and that's the gamification of Zwift. If you have climbed 50,000 meters of altitude on Zwift, that's Everesting times quite a few, you get a special bike, actually the fastest bike within the game of Zwift, and that is the bike you see lighting up on course. Those are riders that have climbed above 50,000 meters of altitude. Wow. Have you?
No, I don't have access to one of those bikes at the moment. But
you intend 50,000 meters?
Well, I do need to get fitted, so you never know, but it won't be for the foreseeable future, let's put it that way. I've got a range of bikes, but not a, what is it called?
A Tron bike.
Tron bike.
Like the movie.
Yes. No, haven't got one of those yet. Right, we're back with James. He has been hovering around 300 watts. His heart rate continues to climb as he gets hotter and starts to feel the fatigue. It's creeping up to 108, isn't it? He's keeping a nice cadence though. That is something important here on Zwift. You don't want to grind too much, although you can afford to do that on the short, sharp climb if you feel more comfortable, because it is short enough that it's not fatigue the muscles too much?
Mostly it's down to preference and what turbo trainer you're on. Adam Zimmerman, who's the US national champion of Zwift, actually grinds about 80, 75 RPM when he's on Zwift due to the Tax Neo. So it really just comes down to the equipment you're on, and you can see that James is spinning that 100 RPM, which means he should be in quite good shape actually.
Yeah, heart rate's come down ever so slightly. Let's hope he's keeping up his hydration too, because he did look pretty hot in a literal sense.
What did he say? A gel every 5 minutes? Is that what he said?
Well, that was for his hair, I think.
Oh, I see.
Right, the group's coming a lot closer together, which is exactly what we're expecting. If all goes right tonight, they will all just about be catching each other as they get inside of the finishing line. So you can see all four of them out on the road within 4 minutes and about 50 seconds now. Group D keeping a decent advantage over the next group on the road, Group C. 2 minutes and 59 seconds it just jumped up to then, whilst the other groups now aren't too far behind. Just over half distance now, in fact quite a bit over half distance. 15.4 k's covered out of a total of 26. Oh my goodness.
That is the Zwift effect right there.
That's a great camera angle too.
Oh, just stick on that one for the rest of the race. Just see James's face as he's suffering, and yeah, those B riders can put down some pain.
The posing that we were seeing pre-race it's almost gone, hasn't it? I mean, he is aware that he's on camera now, so the pain kind of ebbing away from his face, but that's hurting.
I mean, what colour is that? Is that the GCN kid colour I see in his face?
Poor lad. Oh,
he put himself in
What's
this
he
position.
doing? No, what is he doing?
Oh, I think he's popping that power up. No, what he was doing is that he was actually got the power up, the companion app on the mobile.
Yeah.
So when he wants to pop his power up, he gets the phone out, presses it, and then goes.
Right then, 15.4 k's done out of 26. So I will give you an update if you've just joined us of what you are watching here on YouTube or Facebook right now. This is GCN Live Racing on the Innsbrukiring with Zwift. So currently the UCI Road World Championships are taking place over in Innsbruck in Austria. And this is basically a celebration of that, isn't it? Because Zwift are the official supplier to the UCI Road Cycling World Championships. And as such, they have created courses so that you can ride on the same roads that the pros will be doing over the next few days up until Sunday. A really, really hard course for the pros, and indeed if you're riding it on Zwift. Although today the circuit is far flatter, which I'm sure a lot of these riders are relieved about, except for that leg snapper climb, which they've done a couple of times already. I think they've gone over it for a second time now.
This will be the second time
I've coming up now. Oh yeah, they've got to turn right here. Okay.
As we're within the B group. Actually, James got the phone out to start texting the group, so I think he's now so much in the zone that he wants to win. They were starting to give out like directions for the group, either go faster, go slower. But yes, this is the Innsbruck World Championships, which are going on right now in Austria.
It is. Let's see what happens in this race. Of course, over in Austria, the team time trials have all taken place. The last 8 team time trials for the time being, as it comes a national event next year. I've also seen the junior men's and women's, and the under 23 men's and the elite women's time trials take place. Won't give spoilers out, but we've had some tremendous performances over the last couple of days. And then the road races will begin in 2 days' time after the elite men's time trial tomorrow, and they will conclude at the weekend. The women's elite coming on Saturday and the men's elite coming on Sunday.
And it's worth mentioning, you don't have to race this course. If you want to ride this course at a leisurely pace, you can do so. You can stop for a coffee, maybe 2. You don't actually have to race every single time you're on this course. Also, if you want to do a workout, you can do that as well, Dan. You're not forced to go to this level of pain, as we can see on the right-hand side, every single time.
Actually, talking of coffee, if you happen to be going over to Innsbruck to watch any of this racing over the next few days, Zwift have got a pop-up clubhouse there, just after the finish line by the church, apparently.
Yes.
I've also heard, I'm quite jealous about this, that if you can prove that you are a fully fledged Zwifter, that you will get yourself a free beer, which is pretty cool, isn't
Allegedly,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, let us know if they don't give it to you, because that's what I've been told.
Right,
we're on the climb, and Group A is starting to sweep up the remnants of Group B by the looks of it. Now, there's Group B in the blue there. So lots of the groups are now starting to come together. We've got Kim Little on the screen now, doing over 7 watts per kilo. As mentioned, he's a bit of a legend here on Zwift, and a pretty blooming good bike rider in real life as well, which you have to be good on Zwift.
I heard he's stolen a few of your comms outside.
They might have done. I was only worried about one com. It's about Little Moors Valley single track loop, and I lost that a few days ago.
Oh really?
I'm considering making a comeback.
I hear those e-bikes are quite good for you. You can get one.
Well, the trouble is the average speed around it is about 28 k's per hour. So unless I get de-restricted one, it's not going to help me.
As we saw the A group, though, it's worth mentioning that the A group tonight is probably the most stacked A group I've seen in months on Swift. So it turns out if GCN puts on a show, the Swifters turn out in mass, of course.
Yes. Yeah, great to see so many people participating tonight on our GCN on Swift live racing. Thanks again for all of you getting involved in the comments. I am trying to read as many as I possibly can whilst keeping an eye on the action. Cycling UFA, James is our hero. Not surprised, you put that much effort in. Wait until you see what Oscar produces a little bit later on. Niels Helden's a little dishing it out, and we have also had comments in from Eleanor Doggin, also saying James our hero. He's getting a few fans tonight, is old James.
Can you blame him with a hair like that? I mean, it comes natural.
Well, if it looks like that after that much effort, you're doing something right, aren't you?
Yeah, or maybe the amount of gel going into it.
Well, his heart rate still hovering around 179. It's, in all seriousness, it's a huge effort, isn't it? Because in an event that is this duration, so for the faster groups it's going to be somewhere between 35 and 40 minutes, you're kind of just above your FTP, which is horrible.
Oh, we had a pre-race briefing quickly with Oscar and James, and when I said, get ready, this is basically an FTP test, James just about left and just said, no, I'm done. So he's now feeling that.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah, not sure how much training he's been doing recently. Oscar, on the other hand, as I mentioned at the start, is currently training towards the Taiwan KOM Challenge, where he finished second to Vincenzo Nibali last year. That's the kind of calibre that he's got. Do you reckon he'll go for it on the climb? It's not really long enough for him, is it? But if he's got a chance of winning, you'd imagine he's got to go on the climb the next time through.
He will try, but it will simply be so difficult to get a gap because the peloton will be, everybody will be attacking. So for him to actually get separation, he needs to hit 15, 16 watts per kilo, which I'm not sure Oscar's really aware of, as he's gonna have to put in a serious effort. If we're looking out on the course right now, the update as it is, so the A's have caught the B's, so they still have a tiny bit of a gap up to the C's, roughly about 45 seconds. And then to the leading D group currently, it looks like the gap is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And from prior experience watching these races on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so for example the Chop, this is gonna come down to the wire.
I was gonna say, I mean,
okay,
what I'm looking at in terms of the gaps on the screen now, I've got a feeling Category D would stay away given how things have been going. But what do you think?
They find somehow the A category riders always find that extra notch, like that Fast and Furious 20th gear when they hit the leg snapper. So 2 minutes and 30 seconds right now sounds like a lot, but come that part of the race, like there's such a big speed difference between the D's and the A's on that incline that I think today is one for the A's.
Oh, can you quickly explain just what those little screens are in front of the bikes on some of the riders?
Oh, so that is when you're doing a workout mode, if you saw that for a second. So that holographic screen in front of the riders, that is somebody who's doing a workout, so they can be in either erg mode or they can't be in erg mode. They'll be doing their intervals, whether it's a 40-20 or sweet spot or basically whatever you want to do. You can create your own workout on Swift, or I believe there's even a Dan Lloyd special workout.
Yeah, there's a few workouts which I helped to design, and they're particularly hard, so I haven't done them too many times. But erg mode, if you've never heard of that, it basically means that if you have got a set power to achieve for a set duration, your trainer, after you've programmed your training program into Swift, will make sure that you are at the correct power for the correct duration. So if you slow your cadence down, the resistance will increase. If you speed your cadence up, the resistance will decrease, so that you're always at about the right power. It takes all the thinking out of your training, really, doesn't it? You just have to pedal the bike at the correct zone, and you will get fitter. So it's a very good way of training.
It's quite nice and it's quite pleasant just to stick it in one gear, and instead of having to rush in to find the correct gear to do the correct wattage, it just automatically updates it for you, and it just makes training so much more fun, or doing at least a workout, because you always do what you're supposed to do.
Right, well, as we close in on the finish, just before we get to the climb, the leg snapper climb for the last time, let's answer a couple of questions. Leon Brown asked, Jesper, what's the cheapest Zwift setup?
The cheapest Swift setup is a classics trainer, or known as a dumb trainer within the industry. You can get those for 50 to 100 quid probably, or wherever you are in the world. And then you get a speed and cadence sensor which goes onto your bike, onto the back wheel, and that will then transmit the speed of your bike onto the game of Swift, and that will then translate into wattages. So all in all, the cheapest setup, you're not looking at more than 150, 200 if you just want to get on. That in mind, you'll have your own bike, of course.
Yeah, so it's pretty accessible as trainers are coming down in price. But of course, the better experience does come from when you get the smart trainers, because it becomes much more realistic and the whole thing becomes much more immersive. But you can very cheaply, or fairly cheaply, get involved in Zwift very quickly indeed, which is the great thing about this. Right then, we are now 21 kilometres through our 26-kilometre event tonight. Just 5 to go. How do you think things? I'm sticking with my guns. I think Category D is going to take this.
You're making that prediction, the Category D?
Yeah.
I'm with the A category. Looking at the names we have tonight, this is basically Zwift royalty within racing that I've showed up to put on a show tonight, Dan.
Okay, well, we'll see if that happens, and indeed whether our very own James Lowston-Williams and indeed Oscar Pujol can keep up with the Category A's and Category D's if they are fighting out for the victory. We're now watching Jay Hansel. Quite a low wattage at the moment, 196, but that is from Group C. D was it we were watching just then, and now we're watching Group A. R. Bevis.
The Beast!
The Beast! Bevis the Beast.
Yeah.
There he is. Coached by Rowan King, presumably.
I assume so. That's Matt Rowe, I believe.
Yeah. Matt Rowe and Danny King. Now Danny Rowe. It should be Rowan Rowe now, shouldn't it?
You should put in R squared, Rowe squared.
Rowe, yeah, you both. Apparently you're supposed to say Bonking at some point as well.
Boinking?
Well, maybe they just misspelled
Hard in front of the race.
Oh, I used to say boinking instead of bunking.
Okay.
Back where... See, I used to be a D rider as well in Zwift. I've made the progression from D category from 2 watts per kilo up to A category.
We've also amassed 9 points, I noticed.
Thank you, Dan.
What was I on?
That's a Zwift Power
website.
But the question is, how many points have you accumulated on Zwift Power?
Well, quite a few, because I keep jumping on it after my son, where I put my weight down as 30 kilograms and my height is 120. So I busted it a few times.
So that's you who's always off the front at 10 watts per kilo for 20 minutes.
I'm sat there thinking, I'm going very well today. And then I realised the error of my ways. Anyway, back to the action, because things are hotting up. I'm still pretty confident in my bet that somebody from Group D is going to take things tonight. At the moment, we are still with our Bevis, Bevis the Beast. 150 heart rate, and he's only down at what, 250 to 300 watts right now in the A group. So, mind you, he must not weigh very much, because that's 5.5 watts per kilo.
And also, he's sitting at the back of the pack right now, sitting in that draft, getting that 25%, I believe, wattage dropout from just being in the peloton as they charge along.
Are you still confident in your prediction?
Oh, you can't swap now. You can't make a decision.
No, I know, I am. I'm just starting to wonder whether you are, because I'd be getting nervous if I was you.
In my experience from watching this, you can never count out the A category, because even with a gap of 30 seconds going into the sprint, how much are the D guys going to have left? That's the question. They come in, their upper limit is just about 2 watts per kilo.
But do you think that the A riders have got much left? I mean, surely, looking at the gap, as they will be, they must have been pushing on, mustn't they? Because they've got to do the catch in the first place before leaving something to the end.
That's what I say to myself every Thursday when I commentate with Pat Shaw and Wesley Salzberger, ex-pros. But every single time the A category just proves me wrong. It's the fact that they just have that bit extra in the tank when it comes to the sprint. We're going to see it now as we're heading in through the Innsbruck city centre with the A category.
Well, it's a small group, look. It's whittled down. That's not going to help their chase, is it?
No, it's not.
I mean, 2 minutes 11 seconds, just over 3 kilometres. We have got the climb still to go, haven't we? So that could see some inroads being made into our Category D group, who are still leading. Let's remind you, this is a handicap race, so Category D started 12 minutes ahead of Category A. Category C was 7 minutes behind, and a further 3 minutes behind that came Category B, which is where James started. Oscar, of course, in the scratch group, given his 5.7 watts per kilo at the moment. Here we go then. Is this coming up towards the climb?
No, not just yet. You can see up in the top hand right corner on the map, they head over the bridge, and then that's the leg snapper as
so
we're
not far to go.
No.
Not far to go now. James has got over 180 heart rate, so he is really working hard. Started out in the 160s, it's gradually been climbing. He hit 182 just a few moments ago. How much has he got left? In fact, he hasn't got the GCN kit on, has he?
No, I think that might be a visual bug on our end. I do believe if you're out there racing, he should have the kit within the game, as it looks like he's now going to get caught by Oscar Pujol. And I'd love to see if Oscar realizes that he's just about to overtake James out on course there.
Here's the big catch then. Group A, including the leader of Group A, Oscar Pujol, on the right-hand side of your screen there, is just about to catch Group B, which contains James Lowston-Williams. And there you can see all the GCN kits going through the Zwift kits in the blue, white and black there. So that catch has been made, and it's down to less than a minute and a half between these two groups together now.
There's just one
and
more
of course,
person ahead of this
D
guy.
that are still at the front. This is going to be touch and go. So we haven't hit the climb yet. 3 kilometres left of this race. This is going to be a very close run thing. Look at the power up there on the left on Kim Little. Quite a low heart rate, but he's a small guy, Kim. 450 watts. You can see 8.4 watts per kilogram is what he's doing now.
You can see the gap on the screen between the two groups out of course, and I believe that's the A and the C group that are both on the leg snapper. And I think you might be right, Dan. I think with the gap that's currently out there now, it might be the D riders actually taking the win, even though everyone from the A category is now giving it everything. Kim is sitting at 8.5, Drujan is sitting at 9, Adam Webb, the Beast, Bev is at 10 watts per kilo. It's just a matter of too little too late there now. This is the last time they've gone up the leg snapper.
Wow, that is some serious power to weight, and that is a serious game face on James Losley Williams right now.
Oh, he's trying to get back on. He's just been spat from the A group.
Come on, James.
Oh,
you can do it.
Come on.
He's got a lot of fans today. Swedish House FIFA has written in and says, do they have any fans in the Hurt Locker? Well, there's probably 3 or 4 people in there, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's got 2 fans in here as well.
Yeah, they have got a couple of fans, but it is quite hot in there, so excuse the sweat. But they are working hard as well. You can see it dripping off the end of his nose there for James. It's been a tough race, and I think it's the end of it for James in terms of a top 10 now, because he hasn't quite been able to hang on with the group that came past him. Haven't seen exactly where Oscar Puyol is right now. We're focusing on Kim Little, bit of a legend here on Zwift. He is up there still, just gone down to 4 watts per kilogram. Can't be long now before they hit that climb.
I'd love to see the D riders now out on course, because according to our time gaps, they still have a minute. And looking at the map in the top right-hand corner, the C riders are still out in front. The D riders, if they are about to hit the win, they are going to be heading into the sprint soon, as we're back with our Fred Hansel, who is hammering it down at the front with 5 watts per kilo. He might be having the commissaire might have to have a look at the watts per kilo around here.
Well, yes, because you can be relegated, can't you? Because you, well, if you've gone well over the watts per kilo that you were supposed to be able to do for the group in which you started, then you will be flagged. Correct. And your name will be moved down the results to be, well, it's basically to go into the group that you were supposed to be in, given your how big you are on the bike. Right then, we've got 1.7 kilometres to go for our leading riders. There you can see the GCN Hurt Locker on the right-hand side. Those two are going to be very happy when this race is over and they can have a well-earned beer.
I think James deserves a massive round of applause. He's just that pain phase, having to try and get back onto the A group once he's been caught. He's now 12 seconds down. He hasn't given up yet. He's still sitting at 6 watts per kilo. He's just about to find his max heart rate at 185 roughly.
Yeah, he didn't even know what his max heart rate was before he started this, but he must be pretty close to it now. He's down at 280 watts. In fact, he's lifted it ever so slightly again. He has only got 1 rider for company now though, and that's going to make things tough for him.
Before we head into the sprint, if you want to give this a go, you can do so by heading over to Zwift.com. You can download it for free and try a free trial. So if you really enjoyed it, all you got to do is just jump on and give this a go. So we're back into the A group, and we've got roughly a kilometer of racing left now. And I think with the commissioners and what we're seeing now is that it might be reflected that the winner might come from this group, depending on the results afterwards, Dan.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. We are expecting to get full results even after relegations within a couple of minutes of the end of this race. So we'll wait and see what the names are when they flash up on our screen, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But things really hotting up now, just 500 metres to go for the front runners. In fact, have Category A caught the front runners now?
I believe it could be close. I'm not sure. We're seeing some C riders in there. We're seeing some D riders. I think we'll go with the assumption that this is the race lead out on the course with what the information we have available right now. Then it's going to be so tough to beat Kim, as we've got about 600 meters, 800 meters to go now.
Kim Little, you can see his name flashing up on the right hand side. They're currently at 4.5 watts per kilo, but he is a master of judging his effort here on Zwift. We've only got a few hundred meters left to go. We were watching Scarlett Pimpernel just a few moments ago, riding off the front from Group B there. Is he going to be in a chance of winning it? Well, we'll wait and see, but we've got a big sprint finish going on now.
810 watts. Early, Dan. This is early from Cunha from Portugal. He's popping his drafting power. Mohammed from Sweden is trying to go with him. You can see Kim is trying to close down the gap, and it's going to come down to that error part between Drujan and Kim Little for the win now. Matthew Drujan, the magician, the sprinter, is going to catch Cunha just on the line actually, but Kim Little's got that little bit extra kick now. 15 meters to go, Dan. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Kim versus Matthew. It's going to be our friendly neighborhood spider, Kim Little.
Wow. Well, that's why he's a legend of Zwift. Kim Little is a master of judging his effort. Let's take nothing away from him because he is a very, very solid athlete indeed on the bike. I've actually ridden with him myself quite a few occasions, but on Zwift, he should be the magician, shouldn't he, really?
Yeah.
The way he gets things right every single time, he's certainly got the tricks of the trade.
Did you know he's the UK national champion of Zwift? So in all of the UK, he's actually the best.
Yeah.
He's got the strut. He's got the Union Jack on his back. Kim Little. In fact, I actually wrote the Zwift Academy group ride with him this morning, so I'd like to take some of the credit.
Oh right, so he's already been riding. I mean, he's very keen.
Oh, you can't stop.
Meanwhile, just finishing their respective rides on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see Oscar Pujol here, and before that, James Losley Williams. Very well done to them. Thoroughly entertaining evening. I think that they have given us a round of applause a little bit later on. Yes. Oh, we'll do it now.
Preemptly, yeah.
Oh, we'll do it now.
Well, you can see Oscar's face now. He's given it everything, and he's just about heading into a sprint now. If you can find him on the left-hand side out on Innsbruck, I think that face roughly tells you the entire story.
I'll tell you what, he wasn't in the hurt locker quite like that when he did the Taiwan Caring Challenge. So that just goes to show you the effort that he has put in this evening over here in GCN HQ. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah, we're still waiting for the official results as they come up on the screen, but Oscar Pujol, that's a man who's given everything there.
I think we should. Well, it's a shame we haven't got audio coming through from the Oscar Pujol.
Well, do you speak Spanish?
No, but well, I think I could probably understand roughly what he was saying.
Look at James. Oh, good effort from the guys out in the studio. They didn't really know what to expect, but I think they'll be back.
Yeah, well, you can learn pretty quickly, can't you, on Zwift? Once you've done it a couple of times, events like they've done this evening, you get to sort of know the flow of the game, in essence, don't you? And how to measure your effort, where you need to go a little bit harder, where you can back off a little bit, and also how to judge your effort over the final couple of kilometres, because they are crucial. You were right, Jesper. Category A group got it in the end. I was pretty confident right the way through to about 3 kilometres to go. Close. Even then, actually, I still think I've got this.
But it also came down to the power-ups in the end. You saw Cunha from Portugal going early, popping his drafting power-up, and then in the slipstream using their aero power-ups, their aero helmets, Matthew Druchon and Kim Little, the 2 powerhouse sprinters out in course, they've just done that sprint too many times that they know where to pop it and when to pop that power-up and when to go hard. And it really was a great sprint from the 2 guys. They are pretty much arch rivals as they raced each other in the CVR World Cup on Zwift previously. I think that's going to make a good story later on for these guys.
It is, and it just goes to show that it's no coincidence, given that we've got similar riders right up there going for the win on a number of occasions every week. They aren't just adept at knowing how to do it, they've also got the power, let's face it. It's not just a game, it is all about having that athletic ability as well, and certainly Kim Little and Mathieu Druchon do have that, but very different backgrounds. Druchon is a rider who's done Grand Tours, he's an ex-professional. Kim Little, he's been well up there at national mountain bike series races before and national championships in his age category, but not quite at the same level as Mathieu Druchon. But they can come together on Zwift and have a, well, good old race, can't they?
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning because there might be some people out there saying, what? Pro versus mountain biker local guy? They have raced in the same location. They've both gone to France in Paris, set up by a kicker next to each other and raced, and it was the same result. Kim Little beat Mathieu Druchon, so Zwift can make heroes.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of amateur riders out there who are incredibly talented, particularly over shorter efforts. I mean, on Zwift, of course, you don't generally have races. There we can see a repeat of, that's Kim coming across the line, presumably.
Yes.
Just going past some back markers there on the finish line, the nice rainbow bands. But there are some seriously talented amateurs. You don't do any Zwift racing events of more than, well, not much more than an hour, really, do you? No. Certainly don't get the 5-hour events.
You can if you want to.
Well, yeah, of course, you can ride as long as you want. You can do, plenty of people have done 24 hours on Zwift.
But why is the question?
Well, maybe so you can get a Tron bike.
Perhaps, but you have to do a lot of climbing. That would be very difficult. But the question is then, what would it take to get you to do one of these?
Well, someone was asking that. Well, what it would take is a good year of training. I think I'd let myself go slightly. Not from a weight point of view.
You could always join the D category. Everyone has got a chance.
Well, I think they might complain. To be honest, I reckon I'd probably still got about 3 watts per kilo in me.
So C rider.
Yeah, I'm on the cusp between C and B, I would guess. Anyway, yeah, we did have somebody ask me that a little bit earlier. Thanks to all of you who joined us. Niels Helden wrote in a lot, so thank you to Niels. I'm trying to find a comment that made me chuckle, but I've lost it.
I think we saw Swedish has FIFA in there as well. Also a guy who's won GCN Commentator of the Year.
Yeah, great to have you guys. Thank you for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed this evening as much as we have here. It's been thoroughly enjoyable, I have to say. I'm looking forward to going and asking James and Oscar how they thought what they thought about it a little bit later on. We will wait around, I think, a few more moments, and hopefully we'll get the final top 10, or at least the top 3 on the screen, so we can get confirmation of the winner. But well done to Kim Little, because almost certainly he has won GCN goodies and a full GCN fan kit, whilst Matthew Drujon in second place there has won the fan kit. We still need to get confirmation of who came third. They will be getting a GCN.
Okay, well that was the GCN handicap race. Very high speed. They finished looking at some of the... Let's see if I get up here. Look at the A, or the finished Bs here. All high threes. 4-2, 4-5, 4-4, 4-2, 4-4. So right now I'm down at about 3.3. So yeah, see, look at this. Yeah, 3.1 by the time we average it all down. But typically in these races I would be more like 3.3. And as you can see going up here. A. So out of the top 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, about 25 riders out of the top 35 exceeded the B category limits. Oh well. Anyway, explains why I got popped right on the first hill, because I'm certainly not up there right now. Anyway, let's see what we did for all. Not sure how this is going to do it for all. See, this doesn't take into account the speed difference, or the start difference. Anyway, that was it. Thank you for watching. I encourage everybody to go over to GCN and watch their coverage with Jasper and the GCN person, I can't remember his name, and enjoy that one as well. So thank you very much. End of stream now.